Like a week ago, they announced that the borders are going to be opening in July. Woo! So I've got some big news, and that's that. Shh. Come on. G'day. Thanks for joining me. It's a beautiful day. This is the morning walk, episode 81. Thanks for joining me. I want to start by telling you a story. Back when I was at university, there was this girl that I was like really keen on, and she worked at the student union. So this one evening she was there, like, serving customers, and I knew her okay, so I felt kind of pretty confident I could just kind of walk up and have a quick chat and then ask her out. And I kind of walked up, hey, how are ya? And then just kind of ran out of momentum. And for the next 45 minutes, I ended up like standing there chatting as she's serving people. Probably wasn't the best for her reputation there. Just because I hadn't kind of gotten straight to the point and had lost that kind of all-important momentum. I'll tell you what happens with at the end of that story. But let's go for a walk first. Now, one of the things that I think people have found so challenging over the last few months, obviously being locked inside is really hard. Psychologically, not being able to go outside as much as you normally might is a very difficult situation. But if you think about all those plans that you had and all of the things that you were working on before kind of coronavirus hit, and then suddenly like, it just kind of comes to this big grinding halt. And it's like all of the momentum that we had in our lives, whether it was in work, with friendships, with sport, like fitness that we were building up, suddenly it's like all gone. And it's like a massive facepalm that just like completely stops us in our tracks. And that psychologically is very hard because our brains like things to be easy, likes things to be consistent and predictable. And being completely unpredictable, losing that momentum, I think psychologically has made things so much harder than, on top of everything else, like being locked inside. One of the things we've been planning during that time was a big trip around Australia. Essentially like having some of our awesome managers take over the business and run it for a few months while we were away, while we essentially took what's called long service leave here in Australia. It's like you take a long holiday after you've been working in a business for 10 years or working for any company for 10 years, you get like these long holidays. And honestly, in 13 years, I haven't really had much of a holiday. I've been away a lot, but like literally time off where I didn't have to work. I've had maybe like 2 holidays in 13 years, proper holidays. And we were planning this big trip around Australia. And of course, as soon as, boom, like everything just kind of explodes, suddenly all of that was in doubt too. And inside Australia, all the borders have been closed for some time. So it's been very uncertain about what's going on, and we haven't been able to travel anywhere. But like a week ago, they announced that the borders are going to be opening in July. Woo! So I've got some big news, and that's that, for the next 6 months, I'm going to be traveling around Australia in a caravan with my family, visiting the most amazing places that this country has to offer. And I'm going to bring you with me. Okay? So the upside is that sometimes you run out of momentum, everything gets thrown in a heap, it's like shitty, and then things suddenly might work out for you. So never give up. I was listening to this great podcast about a chap that had been homeless twice, started like half a dozen businesses, and they all went down the toilet, ended up sleeping in his car, but he kept at it, kept persevering, and ended up building $1 billion company, which he sold. And of course, that's not going to be all of us, but imagine if he'd stopped. Imagine if you'd let that lack of momentum completely shut him down. Sometimes when that stuff happens, you just gotta like plant your feet and be like, okay, it's game on. Let's go do this. game on. I'm traveling around Australia. Woo! When this all blew up back in March, we had to close our business. And I'm not sure if you saw that video, but our 13-year-old business had sent 6,500 students on overseas study programs. It was turning over like $5.5 million, 13 staff. You know, it was profitable, not millions of dollars profitable, but you know, it was making us a good living. And we just had to close it because, of course, student exchange, nobody's going traveling in the middle of a pandemic. And, you know, from the looks of things, nobody's going traveling for a while yet. And I think one of the hardest things, you know, in those early stages of grief is just being completely adrift and not knowing what's going to be coming next. So it was really tough for my wife and I, who started the business. We started the business together. Just so tough psychologically to even think about what was going to come next, because, you know, at one moment we were just running the business, going into another cycle, and everything was just kind of normal and predictable and what have you. And then the next moment, everything was just like blown up. All of our plans and what was going to happen in future, you know, all those normal steps that we would have followed in day-to-day life were suddenly like just completely interrupted. And, you know, when you're grieving for something like the loss of your livelihood, that was like, I think, doubly hard to deal with. Well, that's my message for today, isn't it? Yeah, momentum is very important. Sometimes you run out of momentum and it's like not your fault. And then you've just got to be like, okay, game on. The job is to like get that momentum back. What about the girl that I wanted to ask out on a date? I did get to the point of asking her on a date. It took me 45 minutes, I reckon. Maybe it was even longer. Just sitting there chatting, finally asked her to go and have dinner, which we did. And look, it was nice, but didn't go any further. Life will throw you many opportunities. It'll give you your chances to have momentum, and sometimes it'll take that momentum away. Game on. Our job's just to keep it rolling. Whatever you're getting up to today, I hope it's a good one. Thanks for joining me for a walk. I'm Rob Malicki. I'll see you next time on The Morning Walk.